We must wake up. We must heal ourselves of the disease of colonization and slavery. When we are awoken, nobody could mess with us. They are using us to take ourselves down as instruments of our own self-destruction. You don't see white people messing with us anymore in Africa. They use us, black people. They use us to take each other down. So when our minds are in the right place, nobody can mess with us. It's when we're still suffering from the disease of self-hate and colonization and slavery that we can be manipulated. And that is the best way and most definitive way of making sure that we're not infiltrated. Can you see any black man trying to infiltrate a Chinese group? Never. Can you see a black man trying to infiltrate a white organization? Never. And yet we're continuously infiltrated. It's because we're suffering from those diseases. So again, realize that you're part of somebody else's agenda, that you're completely manipulated and controlled. Do you want to continue to be manipulated so you can save somebody else's agenda? Do you want to continue to ride somebody else's train, going towards somebody else's destination when your destination is in the opposite direction? Do you want to continue to be stupid and be used to the detriment of not only yourself, but your children and generations to come? The choice is yours. How dumb do you want to continue to be? Or are you going to rise up and say, I'm smarter than that. I can do better than that. And therefore, I know which side my bread is buttered. And I know where the red line is that I cannot cross. Because at the end of the day, you're not doing it for you. You're doing it for generations to come. You're doing it so that our lives, our children's lives can be better. So they don't have to go through what we have gone through. So yes, there will be others. And I would be foolish if I were to assume that none of us are going to betray us. But we are not going to stop doing the right thing because there are 2 out of 10 who are going to be bad apples. We are not going to stop doing the right thing because there are 2 out of 10 who are going to disappoint us. We are going to factor it into the equation that there will be a Judas among us. And we're going to deal with them as we identify them. But they will not deter us. We will continue to stay focused because we know where we want to go. We know what our destination is. We're not going to worry about the 500 obstacles on a 1,000-mile journey. We're going to deal with them as we approach them. But yes, there will be some who are going to try and infiltrate us. No question about it. Even as we speak right now, I wouldn't be surprised if there are others who are saying, what's all this about these black people trying to come together? There could be some listening in right now. But I can assure you, if we're going to go down, it's going to be us who are going to be used to take ourselves down. The question is, what kind of an African are you? Is Africa born in you? Are you ready to be part of the generation that's going to turn the corner and say the lives of black people must matter? That this time it's going to be different and that we're going to be demanding to be treated as equals on this earth, and that we are saying no to a world that is racist, full of bigotry and hate. We are denouncing that. We are refusing it. And we are refusing to be treated as second-class citizens. So will you allow yourself to be used?
Based on our failure. That has to change. And guess who can make that change? We, the children of Africa, we, the Africans, are the ones who have to say, we know your game now. Enough is enough. We're not playing it anymore. And this is where the diaspora come in. There are more Ghanaian doctors in New York City than in the entire country of Ghana. There are more Nigerian doctors in LA than in the entire country of Nigeria. So let's be serious here. What Africa needs is capacity, capacity, capacity. And that capacity is in the diaspora. So it behooves us to bring the diaspora together. Let them understand what is really going on in our Africa. Diaspora are not going home. Diaspora are angry about Africa because they are not understanding the root cause of why Africa is where it is today. They think getting rid of a president will take care of the problem. Far from it. That president is just going to be replaced by another one who is going to equally suffer from the same difficult environment to work in. So let's look at an Africa that must be free to take care of herself, an Africa that's free from exploitation from outsiders. The multinationals who are stealing from Africa every day in broad daylight. I use an example of the DRC. If you ever fly very low over the DRC, you'll see tarmacs in the jungle. You'll see 747s flying into DRC, picking up minerals and flying right out. The same multinationals are responsible for arming young people and giving them MK-16s. Because why? Their satellites in the skies are telling them where that village is. There are lots of diamonds. So what do? Arm young people, drag them up, and send them to go chop off a few heads. The rest of the village runs away, so they come behind and do their illegal mining. We black people must understand what is really going on. Because what we are shown instead is, oh, look at those Africans killing each other. There are some serious games that have been played in Africa for far too long. And once we understand that, we can strategize as to how we can begin to bring the difference and bring the change that Africa needs. And that change can only come if the African diaspora are united. And the Wakanda villages, as I call them, it is our organized way of saying, starting with one African diaspora center of excellence, it will be a new city, a developmental hub that we can then take from there. Every sector is developed. Take healthcare. How many doctors do we need in this region to take care of this many people? We pick up education, same thing. We pick up engineering. We pick up electricity. How many megawatts of power do we have in the region? How many do we need? Be it solar, be it wind, be it hydro, be it geothermal, be it nuclear. France has got to get out of Africa, really, honestly. Enough is enough to take $500 billion out of Africa. I mean, it is insanity of the highest order. In countries that are supposedly poor, and making those countries fund French education, French healthcare system, create jobs for French youth while we are struggling in our country. It's no longer sustainable. President Macron needs to wake up and smell the coffee. And the African youth are the ones he's going to have to deal with. The African youth are not taking it anymore. They want what belongs to them. Financial institutions, them too. If I had my way, all the African heads of states should stop paying back any loans that were given by IMF and World Bank. Those loans have been paid gazillion times over.
So guys, I hope you have watched that great speech from one of our African leaders. She has come out and revealed how the Western countries, they are destabilizing our African and black countries, and also how they're treating black people in the continent. And also guys, before I add my comment, I want you also to watch this great speech from one of our African leader. He's a president of Burkina Faso. He's known as Ibrahim Traoré. Ibrahim Traoré, he has come out also and send a warning message to the Western country. So kindly guys, watch this video till the end, then I will also back with more comment.
Bonjour à tous.
Hello everyone. I would like to welcome all the young people from the 13 regions who are in the room and those who have not been able to access the room. To all the young people from Africa, to accompany the youth, welcome to the land of integral men. I would like to pay a vibrant tribute to our strong security and defense forces who fight day and night for Burkina Faso to be and remain beautiful. I would like us to take a minute to pray for those who are on the ground and also for the rest of the souls of those who have fallen for our country.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Thank you. Let us give thanks to God for allowing us to be here today to celebrate the International Youth Day in good health. I say this very often because human beings often forget God when they have no problem, when they are in happiness. But when worries come, this is when we remember God. Give thanks every day for the breath of life and for health. Youth from Burkina Faso, youth from Africa, Youth, this phase of life where we have enough strength, enough energy, like the paraphrase, the slammer that has just passed. Youth is the time when we have spent enough time. We must take advantage of the time we have been given, use the energy necessary to reach our goals, to change the world, to change our world, to change the world of others positively. Children want to grow up to be young. Older people want to grow up to be young. Everyone wants to be young. Youth is a blessing. So take advantage of youth to do useful work. This is why when I see in the chosen theme the first two words that come to mind, integration, security. Africa faces many challenges, and we must ask ourselves questions. Is youth an asset or a handicap for the development of nations? The answer is simple and unequivocal, and you know it. Developed countries mostly have an aging population, and currently many countries have launched programs to rejuvenate their populations. Africa has this chance to have a very young population. But why is Africa not developed? We must therefore look at the question of why Africa has a young population and why it is not developed, and why developed countries seek to rejuvenate their populations. We must transform our youth into a real asset and engine of development for our continent. To do this, we need integration. We need security and development. We need to unite. You will hear about the African Union. Yes, it exists, but what is the effect of the African Union? We cannot talk about integration and not talk about the African Union, because it is this organization that should unite us, create real integration. But we regret to see this war that persists on the African continent, that kills millions of young people, and that this organization, which has the head of state provided with an army, cannot organize itself to support certain countries. The Union is not just a word, the Union is a symbol. And we young people should learn from this situation to unite us to make integration a reality. I was unpleasantly surprised when Ethiopia, which is the seat of the African Union, experienced a conflict, and when the Prime Minister announced to close the university in Addis Ababa to face the threat, I did not see the action of the African Union to protect this seat. Western states, for the most part, saw Addis Ababa fall, fold their backpacks, and leave. Ethiopia fought, found an internal solution, and lives more or less in peace today. The children of Congo have been dying for years. Several other conflicts, such as in Sudan, exist on the continent. We would have liked to see the African Union generate the strength and all the strategies necessary to support its states so that they can find peace. We will not even talk about us here in the Sahel. For nearly 10 years, the Sahel has been the scene of international terrorism. But we see no support from these organizations to find a solution to this problem.
Pire, il y a quelques jours de cela, un pays
Worse, a few days ago, a foreign country in Africa openly announced that it had supported and participated in a cowardly, terrorist, and barbaric attack against the forces of our confederation.
L'Union africaine n'a pipé aucun mot pour condamner.
The African Union did not say a word to condemn this interference. The African Union did not say a word to condemn this interference of a foreign state in Africa in the internal affairs of our states. I would like them to hear this shout and get out of their silence and take action so that the youth can believe in the African Union. We must unite. The only way to unite is to talk to each other, to understand each other, and to be able to establish the basis of this unity. Young people, let me tell you that to unite, there are three words, three big screws that we must ban from our behavior and our lives. I am talking about cowardice, treachery, and incompetence. We must ban these three words from our way of life. I am going to explain why. Cowardice covers many screws. A coward is always afraid. And when we are afraid, we become slaves. We bend. We lick our boots. Our ancestors were not cowardly. And if we are cowardly, our children will ask us questions. Imagine that in Burkina Faso we refuse to fight and we accept to submit, to live in slavery. Tomorrow our children will grow up and they will ask themselves questions. Have our parents been cowardly to leave us in slavery? Whether we are alive or dead, we will feel it. Cowardice is afraid, and the imperialists have understood that they are trying to scare the leaders so that they become cowards. Because when you are a coward, all the other screws can be born. We do everything so that we are afraid. They come to our palaces. They threaten us directly or with veiled threats. Of course, we respond as it is necessary. They try to make us understand. They take examples every time. They tell us, you know, Thomas Sankara tried to do this, but he is dead. President Haitian tried to do this, but he is dead. Gaddafi tried to do this, but he is dead. These are words that we take in a veiled way to scare us. And we often see some young people trying to take our path in a different way. We can hear them say, such and such person ruled like this, he is in his country. Such and such person ruled like this, he is in prison. All this to try to scare us so that we become cowards. But I think they didn't understand one thing. When we say country or death, we win. It's not just a sentence. It's not just a sentence. It all makes sense. We are not afraid and we will never be afraid.
Ils ont fait peur sûrement à beaucoup de chefs d'État africains.
They probably scared a lot of African heads of state. They probably scared a lot of African heads of state. You see, often when we express ourselves or when we have the opportunity to be in certain situations abroad, We often say something to call on African heads of state to wake up and take care of our youth so that we can start our real development. We are often misunderstood. Some have publicly opposed us. Some have publicly opposed us because they feel indexed. But I can assure you, youth, that when we find ourselves in the corridors, these same heads of state tell us that we are on the right track and that this is what needs to be done so that Africa can rise again. So we ask them questions like, why don't you do like us? Why don't you support us? Some tell us that they have the means, and some tell us that they can't. Dear elders, African heads of state, at the end of this podium, I would like to say that African peoples are the most peaceful. When you recognize a wrong, you have to tell the people. When you recognize a wrong, you have to tell the people. We are not afraid to come out and tell the people we are sorry. We have been compromised. We have been mistreated. We have been compromised by several things, and we ask for forgiveness, and we come back on the right path and to start working really for the independence of our states and our emancipation. And I think it is possible. If we remain in this posture of fear, we will be cowardly and history will judge us. Our children will ask questions. Our grandchildren will ask questions. We are writing history. There is no place for cowardice. If our ancestors had been cowardly, we would not be here. Do you remember? I will give you an example of the people of Bamileke and Bassa. I want to talk about the Cameroonians, the union of the population of Cameroon, which since the 1950s has started a relentless fight against the Poles, but they have been massacred. The French colonial armies, in turn, have dispatched infantry battalions, tanks, helicopters, have annihilated anti-village. The most inhuman tortures have taken place during this period. You can do research on what they call the cart or the Bakasima. Hundreds of thousands of people have been decimated in Africa because they dared to ask their settlers to leave their land. A civil war that lasted several years. That is to say that people dared to face the imperialists with their bare hands so that we could be here. There is no reason why we cannot face the imperialists so that our future generations can live. There are many examples throughout Africa of brave men who refused to be cowardly, who fought, who faced. Well, let us be worthy of these people. We are their descendants, and let us be worthy of them. A coward cannot be worthy. Let us not be cowards, young Africans, because a coward is always a traitor. And it goes hand in hand. They will try to frighten us so that we become cowards. And if we are cowards, we will betray. We must ban the treachery of our habits. Africans have been traitors so that the slave trade succeeds in Africa. It is because Africans have been traitors that colonization has been able to sustain in Africa. Let us question history. We will see. Lumumba, Patrice Lumumba, was betrayed because he dared to hold his head. And these same beautiful televisions came to the Congo for a few bids extended to individuals in the Congo for an interview to please their population. And you were able to follow that. Lumumba bothered us. He is dead. We are happy. It is treachery. Many other heroes have fallen so that we are here today. And it is a technique of imperialism to frighten others by taking action to really create terror. It has not started today. I will give you the example of a warrior who fought, Victor Biakaboda.
Lisez, vous comprendrez. Il est issu d'une famille de chefs, pas de la chefferie.
Read it and you will understand.
Il est un enfant.
He came from a family of chiefs.
Il a fait ses études au Sénégal, je crois.
No chiefdom given by the colonizer. He was a worthy child. He studied in Senegal, I believe. He became a doctor in Guinea.
Pour mener le combat contre les impérialistes.
And when the RDA was created, he went to the Ivory Coast region to fight against imperialists, against invaders, against the colonizer.
Partout, les gens ont commencé à porter la voix.
He tried to organize the Ivorian society.
Qui a fait massacrer les populations.
Everywhere, people began to speak up. There was a general in his time, Pichu, who massacred the Ivorian population so that this spirit of freedom could never germinate.
Aux côtés de Félix Houphouët-Boigny.
He continued his fight alongside FAORCUC Lix Houphouët-Boigny. They fought. But the most violent was Victor Biakaboda. He represented a threat to the imperialists. What did he do?
En plus de massacrer les populations qui
In addition to massacring the people who demonstrated,
ils l'ont tué de manière atroce à côté de Boisflé.
one night they killed him in an atrocious way next to Boaflon-C.
Lorsque les populations de Dimbokro ont entendu l'assassinat, ils
A
ont
few hours later, when the people of Dimbakro heard the murder, they marched, they demonstrated.
l'histoire est têtue, les faits sont là.
They were massacred by the colonial army. History was killed. The facts are there. After his death, which scared FOC Lix Houphouët-Boigny, they called him and told him, if you continue the fight, you will meet the same fate.
Et il s'est rallié à l'impérialisme. Il a été nommé.
He was afraid and he joined imperialism. He was appointed minister in France and later he came to take the reins of the Ivorian Accord. They used him to eliminate many other people who dared to raise their voices.
Je pense que Thomas Sankara est un bel exemple.
I think Thomas Sankara is a good example.
Si vous avez peur,
If you are afraid, you will be cowardly and you will be a traitor.
n'ayez jamais peur.
Never be afraid.
La lutte.
The fight must continue.
Il y a beaucoup d'autres exemples à travers le
There are
monde.
many other examples around the world.
Il y a ce phénomène qu'ils ont aussi utilisé depuis.
And there is this phenomenon that they have also used for a long time and that they continue to use.
Certains individus, par exemple, se sont retrouvés dans d'autres pays.
You see, some individuals, for example, have found themselves in other countries
Au gouvernement du Mali. Vous avez entendu cette histoire
and created a so-called parallel government to the Malian government.
qui a existé dans le temps. Je vais vous prendre l'exemple.
You have heard this story. It is a technique that has existed for a long time.
Ce professeur de mathématiques qui a
I will give you the example of Ahmed Chalabi,
a été recruté
Iraq. This math teacher, who was even in the Iraqi government, was recaptured by the imperialists, and he formed this semblance of parallel government in Iraq, in the United States.
pour être donc le mouton de sacrifice. Parce que c'est à lui
And he was used to be the sheep of sacrifice,
publiquement que Saddam Hussein développait des armes de destruction massive.
because it was to him that it was said that Saddam Hussein was developing weapons of mass destruction,
Et cet alibi
and
a
he
été
did it.
utilisé pour tuer des millions d'enfants en Irak et détruire l'Irak.
They used him. And this Talibi was used to kill millions of children in Iraq
Un soir,
and destroy Iraq.
après une interview. Dans l'interview, il disait même que il sait que la
And do you know what was the fate of Chalabi?
quelques heures après, il a été retrouvé mort dans son lit, mort de.
One evening after an interview, he said that he knew that the CIA was on his back.
Si vous trahissez, vous aurez des fins macabres.
A few hours later, he was found dead in his bed, dead of a heart attack. If you betray, you will have macabre endings. That's how it is. Imperialism has no friends. Imperialism uses you.
Et quand il finit de vous utiliser, il fait
And when
de
it
vous
finishes using you, it does what it wants with you.
Vous comprenez
Follow my gaze.
de quoi
You
je
understand what I'm talking about. It has always been like this.
parle. Le troisième vice,
The third vice that I invite you to leave is incompetence.
c'est l'incompétence. Ah,
I'm coming back to the word of the Islamist who walked on my tongue. Incompetence.
L'incompétence est un phénomène très dangereux.
You understand what I'm talking about. Incompetence is a very dangerous phenomenon that they use to destroy African society.
Reconnaissons-le. Les incompétents ont beaucoup.
In our administrations, there is a lot of incompetence. Let's recognize it. Incompetents have a lot of space next to imperialism. Because incompetence can take over the development of a country. Incompetence can lead you to doubt yourself. Incompetents love ease. Incompetents love everything for themselves. Incompetents don't like those who are competent. They don't like those who innovate, those who seek. Incompetents are dangerous. When you are enlightened, incompetents don't like you. When you want to innovate, incompetents don't like you. Incompetents only recognize those who are competent, and they will fight him until his last breath. Because he is afraid of those who are competent. Seek knowledge. Seek knowledge and work. Work hard to be competent. Ban incompetence. Because through distractions that we want to make us adopt, we become incompetent. I'll give you an example. Social networks are the places where information is published today. People are informed through the internet. A young man who publishes an article on his farm or an agricultural project or a scientific project may not have 1,000 views. But a young man who publishes on futility has millions of views. As the young slammer said, we want to waste your time on futility. Be aware. Let's focus on work and seek knowledge. Let's seek competence. It's good to be distracted, but we must work first before being distracted. Seek knowledge, otherwise you'll waste your time doing nothing.
Cherchez la connaissance, sinon vous perdrez du temps à ne rien faire. Et la jeunesse,
youth is the time when you must use your time wisely.
Il faut exploiter son temps à bon escient. Les impérialistes le savent.
The imperialists know this.
Ils vont multiplier tout ce qui est événement de distraction. Ils vont multiplier tout ce qui est.
That's why they multiply all events of distraction.
Pour que vous soyez des incompétents.
They multiply all events that can distract you from work so that you become incompetent. When you fall asleep, you choose the incompetent to lead the important structures. You have no choice but to fold. Let's not be incompetent. Let's seek knowledge.
Les incompétents se cachent souvent derrière des mots.
Incompetents often hide behind words. They use the terms democracy and freedom without realizing what they mean. Democracy is a state of mind as much as youth is a state of mind. Whether you're a Democrat or not, how can you impose democracy by killing millions of people? It's a dictatorship, not democracy. You can't impose it. Those who call themselves Democrats have seen scenes where people were prevented from joining assemblies. We've seen scenes where forces landed in assemblies to force deputies to take texts. We've seen more terrible scenes where people kill their demonstrators. But they call themselves Democrats, and we're called Perseus. If that's democracy, I repeat, we don't want this democracy.
And
when you see incompetence, They don't seek to know what the real meaning of the word democracy is. They cling to the definition given to them by imperialism and start talking about democracy without really knowing the basics. That's incompetence. You have to know, look at the world to redefine democracy as we want it in Africa. Incompetence hides behind freedom. Remember, there is no individual freedom. It's a fact. Do you really think everyone is free? Freedom is collective. As long as we live in a society with rules, freedom is collective. Because if you don't respect the rules, you can't live in society. If you're free to speak as you please, the other is free to answer as he pleases. That would be disorder. If you're free to walk the streets and pass traffic lights as you please, the other is free to pass by and hit you. You understand that if individual freedom takes over, we are in a society of disorder. That's why there are rules in society. And everyone has to respect the rules. That's why we're talking about collective freedom. Some people have the right to speak about their individual freedom, but they don't care about others. I think that's also part of incompetence. Because they don't try to understand. They make up the rights given by the states to serve and do everything for themselves, neglecting the freedom of others. No, freedom is collective. Before we act, we think about the freedom of others, and we shouldn't transcend the freedom of others. So we need to have a reserve. And once we have a reserve, individual freedom doesn't exist. Freedom is collective, and we need to have this culture of collective freedom. So let's seek knowledge, let's read, let's interrogate history. Don't read the history they wrote in their favor. Seek knowledge through several sources, and you will understand in history who fought for Africa, how we must fight to continue this struggle of our ancestors. And I won't finish my words without making a statement about communication. Because, as I said, it's the fatal weapon of imperialism. And you young people, you must do everything to distinguish the true from the false. We will continue to dismantle the lies of imperialist media that always try to create problems in Africa. Because these media, through their mouths, can make you a king tomorrow. Through their mouths, they can make you leave your position as king and make you a poor slave tomorrow. Pay attention. I was following a program, unfortunately not long ago, in Burkina Faso, where a young journalist released a sentence that left me a little perplexed. He was talking about North Korea, and the journalist said, "But he is starving in North Korea." Has he taken care of going to North Korea to investigate to see if he is really starving? Since imperialist media have sold North Korea is more developed than many European countries. And because these media tell us that North Korea is a dictatorship, people are starving, they are poor, they have nothing, we take it here. But North Korea is a nuclear power. How did they do it? Let's pay attention to communication. We must not blindly follow these lying media that only try to divide Africa. It is logical. They fight for the interests of their people. And the interest of their people is that Africa is divided. So, young people of Burkina Faso, young people of Africa, we must unite. We must ban cowardice. We must ban incompetence. We must ban treachery and all the risks in our society. We have the opportunity to speak. We thank God for these opportunities that we have each time to speak, to raise awareness. And I invite you to spread the word, to get to work so that the Africa that we want, self-sufficient in terms of food, is a reality. So that the Africa that we want for harmonious development is a reality. Let me finish because I return to your theme. There is no peace and security without development. The two go hand in hand. If there is no development, there is no security. Because if there is no development, the youth will inevitably find themselves in the vice and there will be no security. If there is no security, there is no development. So the two must go hand in hand. Let's integrate this in our fights so that we can fight and develop. Let's go towards production. Let's produce enough. Let's transform our raw materials so that they are beneficial for our populations and in terms of exportation. I wish you a very good day of reflection on the chosen theme and also on the essential role of youth in this fight. Good luck to all. May God make sure that all those who have made the trip return home in good health.
Welcome back. Hope you have watched the full clip about our mother of Africa, Mama Dr. Arikana, the former African Union ambassador to the United States of America. So, Mama Arikana is speaking the sense, and I support her 100%. What she's telling us. She's telling Africa to wake up. She's telling Jamaicans to wake up. She's telling Caribbeans to wake up. It's a waking call from our mama, our mother. She's opening our eyes so that we can see far. She's telling the truth. I really support her 100%. What she has still spoken to us, that we Africa, we must wake up. It's a wake up call from her, because we have been doomed for so long. So Mama Africa is telling us that we Africa, we must support what Ibrahim Traore is doing in Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traore is a captain of the Burkina Faso. Is now the president. He's only 35 years old. What he's doing in the Burkina Faso is a very commendable work, and each and every country can admire his leadership, because what Ibrahim Traore did in Botswana, the first thing, he removed the colonialism, which is called the France. So he removed the colonialism and started doing what his people demand. You see the natural resources, which is now which is located in Burkina Faso. What he says that natural resources of Burkina Faso belongs to the people of Burkina Faso. And on that point, I supported him 100%, because you find that these whites, when they come to our country, what they did, they just this colonialism, like France, Germany, and Britain. What they did, they mine in our natural resources. So you find that these natural resources is benefiting people outside the continent, but not our people. So what Traore did, he do away with this colonialism, and this thing will be followed by so many countries. Like after that Traore has did, Mali followed the suit, And now Niger is always sued. When you do away with this colonialism, we will go far. We do away with Germany, we do away with French, we do away with Britain, we will go far. So Donald Trump and the United States, they are sending military to threaten the Traore. Eh? And Traore is doing his work. He's threatening Traore. Because of what? Because of his stand to do away with colonialism. So Arikana, it's a waking call to Africa president to support Traore so that this guy cannot be humiliated because he's only 35 years old. And what he's doing now is more than what more countries are admiring his leadership. We have a lot of resources, natural resources in our country, in our continent. But what are we begging this white man? Arikana is telling us to stop begging because we have our natural resources. Our billions, our trillionaires are taken outside from our country so that they can benefit the other continent. When I heard this news that Donald Trump is coming, we have a lot of NGO in this Africa which is benefiting this. There's just giving us so that we can believe of them. But when you go inside on that NGO, it really supporting the other countries but not Africa. This NGO. Like my country, I heard something like that. This USAID is being cancelled. I had people claiming that, oh, what? But I said it's over because we want to do with this colonialism so that we concentrate on our own country. Do you remember coronavirus when they come in? It was a waking call to Africa to stand solidarity so that they can beat this monster. But we didn't wake up. So the Arikana is telling Africa so that we can wake up. What Traore is doing is not bad. He's just championing the advocating for our nation. So this kind of European people trying to fight Traore is not good. They are doing a very, very, very bad, and this is, we need to wake up. Let's do away with these NGOs. Let's build our own NGOs. And for this message, I send this message to African Union President. Let's unite this country. Let's unite Caribbean. Let's unite Jamaica so that we can do away with these things of NGOs that come in our country so that for their support. They are taking a lot of billionaires in our continent, in our country, so that they can feed themselves. What they pay back is just an NGO, which is not helping us, which is all the time is threatening us about we'll cut this, and this will not help us. Let's wake up. Thank you so much for watching my video, and please thank you for my loyal supporters who are continuing supporting me through your subscription. Make sure you subscribe, like and share. I'll come back with more videos and more comments. Thank you so much. Remember to subscribe, please. Thank you.